Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Rush Roots. Today we have Alex Kelley, familiar face on our channel. He's from Rochester, New York, and at least that's where he's currently residing. And we're going to get to know him here and get to know his Rush roots. So, Jim, go ahead.
All right. So, Alex, why don't you tell us how you heard about Rush? What got you into them and what keeps you around?
My father used to work for my school district, and he would wind up working with various like students, and some of the guys would be listening to various records and would mention this or that. So one guy who was a drummer, go figure, wound up I think hipping him to the Moving Pictures album, which he bought. So I was 10 years old, and that record was in the house. And I mean, by that time, I had been playing with records a little bit, as far as, I had a few of my own and would put them on the turntable as, fifth grader. But I mean, I was looking at the record, the physical, package of it, and just, I think even before playing it, I remember looking at the lyric sheet and thinking with YYZ, it's like, why are there no words? What's up? So, I wound up getting into them basically through the Moving Pictures record, and he would always tape records. He would never buy cassettes, because they would just get destroyed. So that summer after fifth grade, I had a tape of Moving Pictures on one side, and actually Journey Escape was on the other, and it was just like riding around, with a tape recorder on my bike, because that was my tape deck, and just listening to the Moving Pictures album. What was the second part of that question?
What keeps you around?
Yeah, right. It's sort of, wait a minute, threw myself off. Well, I mean, he purchased that album. He bought Signals. He bought Grace Under Pressure. They all wound up in my room. So after that, they got me, my parents got me Power Windows as a Christmas present right after it came out. And so, I just wound up buying the records after that. It's funny because at some point it might have been in high school, might have been in college, where I remember thinking, because with some of the people who would take issue with Geddy's voice, and I remember thinking consciously once, like, I just like his voice, and which is interesting because Geddy's voice, Neil's lyrics have basically narrated and accompanied my life for, ever since I was 10. It's just, they were just destined to be kind of the band. I mean, there were bands I liked beforehand. I liked the Police before I found Rush. I got into King Crimson quite heavily.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. So, I mean, at that point, a lot of bands like that I've liked, some that have come and gone, some that are still, regular listening. But I mean, Rush will always be listed as just my favorite band because they just worked out that way.
Yep.
Well, you know what they say about Geddy's voice, right? So it's an acquired taste, and if you don't like it, well, then acquire some taste.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's how it is. All right. Well,
that's how it's going to be.
Yeah. So when and where was your first Rush show?
Presto in April of '90 in Rochester. It used to be called the War Memorial. It's the Blue Cross Arena at the War Memorial. Oddly enough, that was an interesting show because of the fact that it was scheduled for April 19th-ish, and Geddy was sick. So they wound up canceling or postponing that show and moved it about a week and a half later. So it was kind of interesting where I had a doctor's appointment that morning, stopped to a friend's house. He said, hey, the Rush show is canceled. And we went on to another friend's house because we were all going to go together. And we wound up going to this one music store where Mr. Big, as the opening act, was just hanging out and signing stuff. I had Paul Gilbert sign a pick that I happened to just have in my pocket.
Nice.
Then we stopped to a different record store on the way home, bought some CDs because, it was 1990. And then a couple weeks later, Rush came back. One of my friends couldn't make the show. And so the other one and I we went, and I have an unused Rush ticket that is a nice bookmark. It's not used as a bookmark, but it's among the tickets that was, Ticketron and not ripped from 1990.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's good. That's a good little keepsake.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
$30 bookmark.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Back when ticket prices, when your friend could afford to just not go, as opposed to
Oh
$300
yeah.
tickets. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
he saw their final tour. I didn't see the final tour. He saw the final tour, so he's got that going for him.
Well, we'll have to get this friend on for
Yeah.
his own Rush Roots if you're still in contact with him. So
Oh yeah, yeah. I was thinking that I should probably pry him on here.
there
Say,
you go.
hey.
All right, Alex's friend coming soon. Stay tuned. All right, so this is to kind of understand what you liked at the beginning of your Rush fandom versus kind of like what you like now, right? So now, if you have multiple answers for this, that's totally fine too, because it's understandable. But what would you say was your first favorite song and first favorite album compared to what you might say your favorite song and favorite album are today? Which, hence, you could say multiple.
Well, I mean, it certainly was moving pictures because that was, what I was looking at physically and listening to. It's kind of interesting because, I mean, Limelight became a very distinct favorite for me when I began playing guitar. I mean, of course, the solo is such a standout. I loved the Camera Eye. That was one of those things where, as they say, YYZ, because it was an instrumental, was different and distinctive. Witch Hunt basically, I'm just going to say that every title on the album. So it's the sort of thing where just perfect album. I mean, just not even from them, but just in the rock pantheon, it's a perfect album. So it's hard to really pin down one of them. And remembering back to when I was 10, I mean, I remember really liking Red Barchetta at that time. I mean, of course, I still like it, but I can't call it a favorite today because so many others have jumped up. As I say, I loved The Camera Eye because there was just such a story to it, and it was such a lengthy song. And that was like one of the first lengthy songs I consciously was looking at. It's like 10 minutes, and so yeah, it goes to Red Barchetta, Camera Eye from being a kid. At this point, it's rather difficult to tell because, I mean, if I'm in the car listening to something, I'm gonna default to Power Windows. I'm gonna default to Counterparts. Those really emerged as a couple of very important albums for me. Power Windows, Counterparts, Permanent Waves is always going to be referenced. So when it comes to songs, I mean, Middletown Dreams, of course, is a given. I think probably for a lot of fans, especially who grew up in a small town. I mean, I'm in Rochester, which is, New York's fourth largest city now, but I grew up in a town of 2,000 people. So I was in the far unlit unknown. And certainly subdivisions, growing up in high school, I mean, that was the kind of thing that if you were someone like me and someone like probably a lot of people watching this, it's sort of, you were issued a copy of Subdivisions. Hi, this band wrote a song about your life.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So I mean, in that respect, it's it's a difficult one because there's so many choices that could be referenced. I mean,
I almost should phrase that question as, okay, you might have had a first favorite song and a favorite album, but for the now part, it almost should be, what do you find yourself coming back to the most? Like, what is your fallback album? You don't know what to put on, so you put this on, right? So I almost should phrase it like that.
Yeah, and that probably goes to Power Windows, actually.
Okay.
I mean, I mean, it's Permanent Waves through Power Windows. Any of those could be a given, but Power Windows is the standout. As far as the 90s, it is, Counterparts, but yeah.
Cool.
That's awesome.
Good stuff.
Great albums. I love Counterparts. I think that was just a fantastic piece of work. Oh yeah. All right. Well, where can people find you on social media if they want to get to know you more as a Rush fan?
Well, as far as the Instagram page, I mostly use that as kind of like a photographic portfolio. I mean, it's easy enough to find me there, and the handle is Alex Kelley, Kelley, and then just solidly the Camera Eye. So Alex Kelley, the Camera Eye, because of the fact that, well, a photographic portfolio and the song. It's always interesting. Ryan wound up when it was sending some things, or if he sent something with my name on it, he spelled my last name correctly. I can always tell the age of people by how they spell my last name. Anyone in their mid 40s and over misspells my last name.
Yeah.
Anyone under probably 40 is going to spell my name correctly, because people under younger people, 29 is younger, basically are conscious of spelling names because of the computer world. Anyone who's 40, 50, 60, it's sort of it's all ly. So yeah, Instagram is that. I do have as far as Facebook, I actually do have a guitar page, since I do teach guitar, so it is kind of like a quasi business page, which I can't even remember the name of it, but it's like Alex Kelley Guitar. That's kind of like my go-to when in doubt is Alex Kelley Guitar for Facebook, and I got a WordPress that's kind of my own version of a LinkedIn. I'm out there.
Cool. Awesome.
Good stuff. Anything else you want to share? Any Rush facts? Any Rush stories you want to share before we wrap?
I probably either have too many, or right now I can't think of any. So
that's always the way.
All right.
Yeah, I guess that's where I fall.
There's plenty of opportunities for the viewers to hear Alex Kelley, EY, his stories on on other episodes of Rush Roundtable in the future, because you're a regular now. We love having you. So anyone that wants to anyone that's been watching our channel for the number of years we've had it, that feel that they don't feel comfortable coming on a panel, I think this would be the show for you. So feel free to shoot us a email, rushfans@rushfans.net. Very simple. And we'll have you on, and you can tell it's much easier to talk about yourself than it is to try to fit in and talk Rush with a bunch of Rush nerds, right? So so yeah, rushfans@rushfans.net if anyone watching wants to come on and share their story. And we'll wrap with that. Thanks, Alex, for coming on, and we'll see you next time.